seen almost nothing out of him in terms of StarCraft 2. It seems that he's winding down. He's looking for other avenues to influence in the StarCraft scene, maybe commentating, casting, coaching, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I mean, players like that, I would see them. This is not a negative thing, so we don't want to put a negative spin on that, so people get the wrong
just disregard my comment saying blacklist. I used the wrong word clearly. As you can see, it's written there, disqualified. Just go that way. It's much easier.
Yeah, I think I might have even said blacklisted, so yeah, my apologies as well. Don't want to.
Okay, so tell me one thing. You guys want to comment a bit on what Dorian123 is there placing on the chat? You guys have any specific comments about it, or?
Let me see what he's saying. All right, Dorian123 is saying, yeah, thanks, especially about mech TVT. What?
No, he's going on.
Could you talk about the current Terran metagame?
Yeah. I mean, as all of you've been noticed, I'm sure. Yeah, and I don't even play Terran, but you've been noticing that there's a lot of mech play at the moment. You see a lot of Hellion play. I end up seeing some high-end matches not very long ago, where you see a lot of Hellions coming out, like stacks of 10, 8, I mean 6, 8, 10, even 12 Hellions just roaming around trying to roast everything that moves. Then you see plenty of siege tanks as well. But I would like to add to the mix. The drop play, because apparently, at least Puma showed us, though it wasn't on TVT, was against Protoss, but still he showed us if you have the ability, if you have the capability of micro with that intensity, with that level, you can just multi-prong your opponent until he just rolls on the floor and dies. I mean, like 3 and 4 multi-prongs, and you just keep harassing him all over the place, to the point where he just has a nervous breakdown and starts crying inside the booth. So what you guys think about that? First, the bit where you see a lot of mech currently. There's very heavy on the mech. You still see a lot of bio play and big bio balls, but also now you see big masses of Hellions, for example, backed up by siege tanks.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Hellions to siege tank, the mech plays, first of all. That's a very solid opening, because you are pretty safe with the Hellions opening, and then you're going to be followed up with the siege tanks, because I mean, same structure you're going to be pumping out of, and siege tanks are eventually where you're going to want to be with anyways. And the Hellions provide a nice mobile force where you can open up with harass. You have scouting options. They're great against Zerglings in particular. It's just a really mobile force that it's hard to get directly punished. I know that in the early days when we were seeing StarCraft 2 just start up, there was a lot of early bio push. The ramp blocks, the marine rushes, the racks rushing, or not the racks, but the proxy raxing, bunker rushing. We just saw a lot of those early harass pushes, and I think that the metagame is starting to switch to a more stable, drawn-out game for Terran, because they know they can grind it out if they hold the lead, and they can eventually wear their opponent down, especially in the case of Zerg, where they just gotta mass units and crank units and throw it at Terran. And Terran has the viability to sit back and defend, and they can get those upgrades, and then, I mean, the mech just rolls through, as we've seen. In the case with TVT, that's a bit more hard to handle, because that's a beast of a different nature. Since it's TVT, those games tend to be a lot more drawn out. Either you have the stalemate kind of deal with the tank lines, where people are lining up and sieging up and defending, or you have one going mech, one guy going bio, and he's trying to defeat him with the drops and the upgrades. So that's a bit more difficult, especially for me to comment on, since I don't play Terran. But I mean, Terran is a strong race. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that at the moment, Goody is just sitting on his living room and saying, yeah, I was right all the way. You guys see, Mac is the way to go. Oh yeah. Swag, what do you think?
Man, I think that the best Terrans right now are the Terrans that are able to do multiple prongs attacks, where they have 3 or 4 drop chips just sitting by your main, your natural, your third base. They're just sitting there, and then they'll push a little bit, and they'll get, especially against Protoss, they'll get that main force out of out of position, and they'll drop one, and they'll all move there, and then they'll drop the other, and then they'll all move there, and they'll just sit there. You'll just see drops all game, and I think that is what is really well. You'll have your main Terran force, and you want your opponent to think it's more powerful than it is, but then you're sneaking 8 Marines, or you're sneaking your 4 Marauders over
Yeah.
over to the side of the base, and you're taking out that key structure. Oh man, it happened twice to MC where Puma took out his Psionic
The
Storm
Twilight
right
Council.
before it finished, or
The
the
Twilight
Zealot legs.
Council.
He took out the Zealot
Yeah.
legs twice, like
Yeah.
10 seconds within
That's a
within it
huge. I
finishing.
mean, that
I'm
takes a long
flipping
time to
out.
research, and just having that go down twice is just devastating. So, and the thing about Terran is they can afford those, those death squads of Marines going out. And I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to address that, Swag. As a Protoss player myself, that's extremely frustrating because you tend to keep your death ball grouped up, and then if you don't have blink, you can't blink over there in time, or if you don't have your units protecting you there, you can get really caught off guard. And the whole drop thing requires a lot of APM, but it can just dismantle your opponent. It's extremely frustrating to be on the receiving end of that and not being able to defend. And Swag, as a Zerg player, I'm sure you hate that extremely as well. I mean, if you don't have some static defenses up, or if you don't have mutas or a good counter to the drop harass, you can just lose key structures, and especially Zerg, you can get picked apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate having to do a whole cycle of drones when I should be making units. I hate going a whole cycle of drones. Just seeing what MC was doing, I have no idea how he was doing it. He was controlling his army back and forth, doing drops, and microing his probes, making sure he had 3 on gas, making sure he had enough on minerals, making sure this base had enough with enough saturation, making like the mindset that these guys must be going through in terms. Okay, I'm not just worrying about. Okay, I know this drop's not going to kill me, but will it set me back far enough where I can get my workers back onto line? I wouldn't. I see a drop coming, and I'm like, oh, I gotta stop this drop, or I'm gonna die. I'm not worried about, oh, do I have 3 guys in gas or stuff like that.
Yeah.
At least I'm not at that level yet.
It's
But
just that-
man, drop harass is the absolute way Terran should be going right now. I don't mind seeing Hellions as Zerg. You put out a couple roaches, and they're absolutely useless. Even against Queens, Hellions don't do too bad. You just gotta make sure you don't leave too far out of
You
your
have the
base.
spine crawlers and stuff, so you can.
Yeah.
If
as a
you
Zerg
scout
player,
that
I'm more worried
properly, the
about-
whole thing comes down to scouting. Because if you scout that opening coming, you can defend against it properly, and then it's going to be amount of time before they get the siege tanks in there. So you have a bit of a window to build up as Zerg.
Yeah.
Okay. I
I'm
have
more
one
worried
more
about-
question.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Swag.
Go ahead.
No, Swag, go for it, because I'm going to change it a bit. I'm going to make another question for you guys, and to Dorian 123 as well. So go ahead, just finish
All
it
right,
up.
just real
wrap it
quick.
up.
Another thing that really bothers me that a lot of Terran players are using is the Banshee. They realize, oh, I don't need to make I'll make a Banshee and it'll harass, but don't just go in and harass until it's dead. Keep it alive, keep it back there. Especially Cloak Banshees, man, I hate Cloak Banshees. I hate dealing with them. For 10, 15 minutes, they'll bother me, and that's all I'm thinking about. Then all of a sudden, I have 40 Marauders at my front gate, and I'm like, oh, great, I have Queens. And so, it definitely Cloak Banshees. Just mixing those Cloak Banshees, man. Oh, they annoy the crap out of me.
One more question that I'm pretty sure Dorian 123 will be interested in, and he might share his opinion with us as well, since he's one of the most active on the chat. I've been noticing, and I don't play Terran as well, but I've been noticing on the high-end gaming, on the big events, that we're starting to see a lot of Ghost play. Much more Ghost, much more, oh my god, so bad. The English is getting worse and worse. I see a lot more Ghost usage than I saw like 3 months ago or something like that. Not only for the MPs, obviously they're brilliant against Protoss, but what about the snipes against Broodlords? Or, as well, you can use the EMPs against Infestors and so on. So I've been watching some matches with Terran players where you do see the Terran just stacking up large amounts of Ghosts and have them on the late game, sniping Broodlords, for example, or just being close to the front line to EMP the whole death ball from the Protoss player and just wreak havoc onto his defense. You guys have been noticing this? You guys seen this evolution on the Terran playing as well?
Yeah.
Or it's something that it's not that big and I'm just making a big fuss out of it?
No, Swag, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of ghost play, and I'm a high diamond. I don't see a lot of ghost play too much. If I get a lot of broodlords, sometimes I see it, but watching against a Protoss player, I definitely see ghosts as you need to have them because sentries just completely screw up, the micro of the marine and marauder ball, and you
Mhm.
can if you get those the archons and the sentries of their energy, you win. And that all that takes is 2 or 3 EMPs. You make 10 ghosts where you can't get feedback, and it makes a big difference against Protoss. I think just because they're built on energy, but I think
Um,
it's more of a pro high level micromanage. This is hard to let alone micro your marine marauders as well as trying to get
yeah.
key EMPs off on a Protoss army that's also microing their High Templars. Um,
That was
I'm not
I'm sorry.
saying.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, go
Swag.
ahead.
That was what I was going to add. It feels like the game is getting more and more micro intensive. You get units that before like 6 months ago people would think, okay, they're too weak, it's too squishy, they're going to get a couple of shots, I'm not going to use it, I'm not going to be able to use it. But at high end gaming, people are just getting so refined that anything that has specific abilities that you can micro on the battlefront, they're going to use it. So you see more and more high templars with feedback, the infestors with the fungal growth, the ghosts obviously with the EMP and the snipe as well. You're starting to see more and more of it, and it's a sign that people are getting more and more used to the micro and getting more and more refined. What you think?
Um, yeah, I would agree, especially the point that Swack brought out. Again, I'm going to say as a Protoss player, that's annoying because your units, 50% health loss from an EMP is just devastating to your army, and especially when you have everything grouped up in a death ball. If you lose all your shields in an instant, or even worse, if you don't have observation and the ghosts are there just destroying you with cloak, that's something that's just going to, just like that, switch the tide of battle. And we saw lots of great ghost play with reiterating back to the match with Puma and MC. We saw Puma use ghosts, and I mean, if you have the micro and the APM for that, which I think many players who want to emulate that style of play might not necessarily have that style of play or have that ability mechanically. I know that would be a bit harder for myself. I don't have the best APM in the world, but I'm saying if you have that ability, that is something that's a very key part of the unit composition because you don't want to be heavily focused on just one thing and then you can get overrun. And referring to the ability of the ghost with the sniping, if you drop a ghost in enemy territory and they're cloaked and they don't have observation, and you're distracting with your main force somewhere else, it might be a
Mhm.
while before the enemy notices that, hey, I'm being picked off over here by this ghost who's just a rogue ghost, or in this case where they've been used to snipe broodlords, which is maybe an efficient way because not only will they be able to snipe the broodlords, but then later on you can use them to cancel any energy and infestors, which have proved to be a really important play in Zerg's playstyle these days with the infestor buff. But yeah, I mean, ghosts are just a very key
Mhm.
unit, I would say, especially as the game has gone. People have learned to explore with the different play styles, and they're refining their games,
Well,
as you were saying.
listen, I remember like I don't know, now I can't be precise, but a month ago or something like that, I recall seeing on the GSL people trying Ghost Rush, like just rushing
I
the tech,
I
teching up
actually,
to ghosts.
yeah, I remember
And
that exactly.
yeah,
Especially, I remember watching some games with, it was either VODs I watched of TLO. I know somebody had made a VOD of TLO
uh-huh.
bunker rushing with a ghost on an
Yeah,
opponent, and he,
yeah.
I mean, it was quickly over. If it wasn't defended, uh, if it isn't defended properly and swiftly, it's going to be over almost in a matter of a couple minutes. So I mean, it's a
Yeah.
unit that that can really do some heavy damage if used properly and in the correct hands.
So yeah. Swag, you want to add anything else?
Yeah, it just shows how good this game is because yeah, while ghosts are good and they're the spellcaster of the Terran, they got rid of the science vessel. Everyone knows that. Now the ghosts are the ones doing it. Um, at the same time, a ghost army isn't going to win you anything. They don't have the DPS. They don't have, you know, any and what was that lockdown ability that they used to have in Brood War. where it would just I hated Lockdown and Brood War, but it just shows that this game is getting better and better. Every unit has a function. Every single one will do something in a game, and ghosts and your infestors and your High Templar, your spellcasters, they make the difference. I'd rather have one spellcaster than like three roaches. One infestor makes the difference, and people are just starting to learn how to micromanage them as well as their army. And that's what happened. This game's been out a year now. Give this game another year, and you're gonna
Yeah.
see crazy new strategies. And I like it. It keeps the game fresh, it keeps it new, it keeps me learning, it keeps us talking, and it keeps all the viewers out there listening. So I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more questions, guys? I don't see anything coming more from the chat.
No,
I
I
think we
think we're done.
addressed all the questions, and I think we made up for the lack of an episode last week because we have been balling here for about 2 hours, 2 hours and a quarter here. Yeah, so I think we made up for last week's hiatus, but I think we're going to close it up here. Thanks a lot, Swag, for filling in here, Minuteman, showing up on the show. Really appreciated it. It's nice to have you here. Looking forward to getting back to some twos again in the fall time, so we can start having those late night rage sessions when we get caught off guard by some cheese or something. But it's going to be good times. Any shout outs you want to make?
I just love stinky cheese. I love it. Stinky cheese. No, thank you guys. Glad I was being a part of it, and I love you guys' show. Keep going on with the good work. I love it, guys.
So you don't want us to take a break because we were discussing a little bit that maybe we should take a break for the summertime since the schedules are so rough. But I don't know. I mean, I'm of the opinion that people are still out there that are going to be listening to the podcast. And we had some viewers today here. And when we even have a little bit of feedback from the live viewers, I mean, this is what I do it for, guys. I love this. I really enjoy doing the show, even if it is a bit of work. And it's something I look forward to each week. And I think that if we just keep going through here, we can make it through this small hurdle that we have to make. And we got some stuff planned here. We're just going to keep chugging along, and we just need to spice it up a bit, and hopefully we get a little bit more exposure. I think that's just the only thing we're lacking right now.
And listen, it's holidays, it's summer. I mean,
Yeah.
people are just relaxing, and it's all good. I'm pretty sure that during the winter, people will go mad bonkers again about Starcraft 2. People are just cruising and relaxing a bit at the moment. But you were asking about shoutouts. No shoutouts. I'm all good. If anyone wants to check my videos on the channel, I'm now taking care of the series between July Zerg and Asu Hobbs from DreamHack Summer. It was one of the series that didn't get that much attention, and I'm curious about it. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to put a couple shout-outs here. Guys, we're working on the website. I know I probably said this for like the past 22 episodes, but this time I am so serious. I want to give a shout-out to my friend Duff, Matt, a.k.a. Duff, who was on the chat earlier, and he's going to be listening to this podcast in his car sometime. He was going to tune in live from work, but he forgot his headphones. But we went to school together. He's a programmer, and we have been working on the website, and it's going to have plenty of features, and we're going to make plenty of stuff accessible to you, the viewers. So hopefully we're going to get a bit more of a spotlight with that, and it's due time that we finally got up a site because we have absolutely nothing, just the embedded live stream and a logo. And so hopefully you viewers will appreciate that. And if you guys want to do us a favor, go over to teamliquid.net, search for the GGRated live show on the forums, and just drop us some love, show us some support, and make a bit of clamor. And I know Sebastian is he's been in contact with some of the TL admins, so hopefully we can work something out where we can get featured on the show list and get a bit more spotlight. But yeah, guys, just drop us a line, show us some love, and spread the word to your friends. Add us on Twitter, GGRated on Twitter. Also, you can follow us on Justin TV, justintv.com/GGRated. And yeah, just let us know what you guys think of the show and spread the word. And we're going to do as best as we can to bring you some more big name people here. And
spam, don't forget, we have a thread on Team Liquid. If you guys go there, just spam it. One day we're going to get featured. Think about it, huh? If everyone complains and asks to be featured, just go there, and one day the admins will reconsider it, and maybe we get a bit more visibility. Would be a good option. Anyway, thank you for everyone showing up. You're more than welcome, and it's a pleasure to provide some nice content to the community.
Yeah, it was really great to have feedback. So thanks, guys, for showing up. We will see you guys next time. Once again, Swag, thanks for showing up. For the Iceman, I am signing out. GG, hit that button, Hydra.
GG!
Oh yeah, I also have one.
Love it. All right, guys. See ya. Have fun. And we'll see you next week. Later.